assessment. Assessment in the classroom is a vital component of the educational process, functioning as an essential tool for teachers and students. It encompasses a variety of methods and strategies for evaluating students' learning, understanding, and skills. As Black and William 1998 note, assessment is not an end in itself, but a means to improve students' learning, emphasizing the importance of using assessment as a strategy for growth rather than merely as a metric for achievement. There are two types of assessment: formative assessment and summative assessment. Brookhart 2023 distinguishes formative assessment as a method that informs teaching and learning, while summative assessment primarily focuses on grading, certifying, or documenting students' achievements. We frequently ask ourselves, what is formative assessment? According to Black and William, 1998 argue that formative assessment is most effective for learning when it actually involves students. So for formative assessment to take place, it must actively involve students in the classroom during the learning process. Furthermore, formative assessment occurs when evidence from activities undertaken by both the teacher and the student is used for self-evaluation as well as providing valuable feedback. We often question what theoretical underpinnings guide formative assessment. Three theoretical models that influence the design process for my formative assessment were behaviorism, cognitivism, and constructivism. The FPSI model was developed by Professor Delay in 2016. He clearly outlines four aspects of this model as follows: formative assessment, performative assessment, 21st century skills, and integration. Some key principles of the FPSI model are: formative assessment must promote self and peer assessment. Assessment as learning with the goal of self-regulation, and this was pointed out by Black and William 2009. Another key principle of the FPSI model is the performance assessment, which facilitates a knowledge creation classroom in which 21st century skills and integrated learning are continuously assessed. Another great benefit or key principle of the FPSI model is the performance of understanding the use to diagnose and improve feedback. When conducting a formative assessment, we must make sure that the assessment is linked to the learning objectives, as well as it must be intentional. In planning and executing formative assessment, there are different things that must happen. So in order for me to be able to implement my formative assessment in the classroom, I started off with a big idea. From the big idea, I devised learning objectives with the assistance of my peers and tutors to have sound learning objectives aligned with the Ministry of Education curriculum for mathematics. After developing the learning objectives, I created a TOS. TOS is a table of specification. The TOS is made up of cognitive levels as well as context levels, which will guide how I am going to go about getting my assessment done. 5 key components of formative assessment are: explaining criteria explicitly. Also, we must be able to elicit evidence from conducting the formative assessment. Thirdly, we must be able to adapt instructions, give feedback, as well as encourage peer and self-assessment. One of the ways I continue to clarify the information and the criteria is by utilizing the rubric. I allow the children to continuously make reference to the rubric as well as the different duties that are outlined in the performance assessment. More so, in ensuring that we cover all of the duties that were aligned in the performance assessment, there were checklists that were constructed to help guide the students as to what is the next task. In conducting the formative assessment, there are many positives with it, such as it increases students' motivation and engagement. It gives me, the teacher, or any other teacher, the needed information to make timely adjustments to the instruction. It allows students to focus on their attention most productively. It helps students to use feedback to move forward, as well as closer to their learning goals, and a lot more. While there are a lot of positive coming from formative assessment, there are a few challenges as well that hinder formative assessment or may not encourage teachers to conduct formative assessment, such as it's time consuming. It takes away a lot of time from your classroom in terms of when you have a heavy curriculum to cover and focuses heavily on standardization tests. Sometimes it is also hard to assess every student and keeping track of each student, as well as providing that feedback depending on the size of the class that we may have right here in our local context.